changes the discussion because at first he had called them disciples. You understand me, friends? A disciple is a bit of a promotion from a servant. When Paul introduces himself, he says, me, I am a bond slave. In Romans chapter 1, verse 1. A bond slave is the lowest of the low you can be in that society. But today, because we don't have slavery in Kenya, we don't understand some of this terminology and why it is so important when he says some of these things. Because from a slave, you become a servant, meaning there is a wage you are receiving, because a slave has no wages. But a servant has some wages. But as he's walking with them, now he tells them, you are my friends if you do whatever I command you. I want you to know, as he says those words, these are not the first friends of God. God has had other friends in the past. And for God to tell you, you are my friend, is a very special category, because it is very, very few people that God tells, you are my friend. In the Old Testament, the whole entire Old Testament, God had only two friends. Two people referred to as friends. The first one was Abraham. The second one was Moses. Exodus 33 verse 11. Exodus 33 verse 11. So the Lord spoke to Moses. Now remember, I've told you before, Deliverance Church, whenever I put scriptures there, it's not for show, it's for you to read. Because it is unfair for me to preach to you and read scriptures for you. At least read the scriptures yourself. That's why they are there. Gonga jirani yako mwambie tumia school fees. Okay, so when we put a scripture there, it's not for display that we are technologically advanced. I want you to read scripture. So can you read for me? What does this say? So the Lord to Moses, what? Face to face, as a what? As a man speaks to his friend. Shh, that's all I want. You see, this incident, when God is doing that, he had in Numbers chapter 12, can I continue? Aaron, who was an older brother, and Miriam, who was an older sister, had challenged Moses to his face. And their question was, who does Moses think he is? God can speak to any one of us. Wrong. God has some choice. And sometimes he makes choices. You are not here by accident. Because I'm about to introduce you to your status. Am I in the right church? You know, sometimes I come and I find I'm a bit too prepared for you. You want me to go back to John 3:16, and I can do that. And you watch this church, there are no pieces of cloth here to cover you when you fall. Because this is not a falling conference. This is a walk in revelation. This is where you know the truth, and the truth shall set you. Because even if you fall down and you don't know the truth, the same devil that left out shall be waiting for you at the gate. But when you know the truth inside of you, no devil shall follow you home. My friend Reinhard Bonke said the only way to deal with flies and cockroaches in your kitchen that are walking on your stove at night because the stove is cold, just put on the fire. Once the fire is on, the cockroaches will go. Am I talking to somebody here? I'm teaching you about your new status. So that when you look at yourself right now, you know we are operating from a different angle. The people, it is not you call God friend, it is him who calls you friend. You see, human friendship, Pastor Richard, is mutual. You choose me and I choose you. God's friendship is not the same way. You don't choose him. He chooses you. And if God has chosen you, Aaron may talk and say, who does Moses think he is? Atakuwa na siku mrefu. Because God is very loyal to his friends. God is very protective of his friends because, can I continue? Because he has chosen a few to be his friends. So when they asked that question, God came down, and God came down for a special meeting, and he just called Aaron and Moses and told them, let's go into the tabernacle. And he closed the door, and he stood at the door, and he started talking to them and said, hey, Miriam and Aaron, when I speak to other prophets, because I've got servants who are called prophets, I speak to them through what? Dreams, visions. Are you getting me now? It is there. The scripture is not for. But look at the next verse. It says, but it is not so. What does he call him? With my servant Moses, he is faithful in all my house. So how does he speak to Moses? I speak to him what? Face to face, even plainly, not in dark sayings, and he sees the form of the Lord. In other words, this is my friend. I've given him more revelation than I've given you. He knows more about me than you know. And I'll come to that in a moment. Are we still friends? So he calls Moses my friend. So when Jesus is telling his disciples, from now on, you are my friends, I want you to know, he's raising them from, can I continue? From slaves and from servants to another level altogether, where he says, you are my friends. Status of his children is raising your status also. Are you understanding me, friends? In fact, it will go very far by the time I'm done with you tonight. So that when I talk about from John chapter 1 tomorrow, you'll be able to understand God is not talking to you as a servant or a slave. He's talking to you as a what? As a friend. Second person whom God calls, who is called a friend of God, is Abraham. 2 Chronicles chapter 20 verse 7. This is mentioned about even in the New Testament. 2 Chronicles 20 verse 7. Are you not our God? You're not reading with me. Are you not our God who drove out the inhabitants of this land before your people, Israel, and gave it to the descendants of who? Of Abraham. Who is Abraham? Your friend forever. If you can be a friend of God, the status of your children shall change. Si niwaambia nitakaa pande hiyo hata